really like the Catwoman. I think that one's cute. The Poison Ivy's cool too, though, with all her little like leaves. All right, and then we gotta put these in there.
These were free though, right? He was doing these
Yeah,
for
those
free.
were free. Yeah.
This is awesome.
The little free sketches. Then we got the Catwoman sketch.
That one's really
sick.
nice.
That back in the bag.
And the Spawn, look at that.
Yeah, the Spawn's really cool. That was a good choice.
Adam Hughes on the Spawn, yeah.
Put that back. Then we got a bunch of comic signs. Oh, I think you have all the bags and the boards.
Wonder Woman. This one's really nice. The Mole variant. You have the 1 in 25 on White Widow. Black Widow #1.
Got the swimsuit edition.
Alice Never After. The foil on Sensational. And then I got the set here.
Very cool. All right, we're gonna put them all in our backpack, and then what's next?
We got to go to see Adam Kubert's
Oh, we have
stuff.
3 minutes. All right, let's pack up and go over there. Here we go.
I'd like to learn, like, about you guys a little bit and how you got to this spot where, you know, you guys are super fans, and this is not a cheap thing that we're doing here. And I'd like to hear, you know, where you're from, if you want to. You don't have to. You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's start with you, because you got like a $1 million smile.
I'm DT. I am from California, and I make YouTube videos.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So got into comics in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
Kind of lost track of them after.
Wait a minute, for a living you make YouTube videos?
Yeah.
Really?
For about a little over a decade,
Wow.
I made videos with my family.
Oh, cool.
Now the kids are grown up, son's
Uh-huh.
going to college, so now I'm focusing back on what I like. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
I'm from West Virginia, a little south of Pittsburgh.
Nice.
But I have a family business. We do custom molding and millwork, and
Uh-huh.
do a lot of custom home building and that kind of stuff.
Right,
And,
right.
I really started in West Virginia. It was hard. There weren't a ton of comic shops growing up, so
Yeah.
you had to kind of pick your spots.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you might have to go to the mall, at the bookstore, or the guy selling sports cards.
Right, right.
And that kind of really got me into it, and it really was that in action figures,
Mm-hmm.
because I really could not get normal, you know, I couldn't get every issue. The internet now, you know, it's not a problem to go. Yeah, well, we just got it. They just got it. It's still it's a faster dial-up.
So how many guys here bought their comics off a spinner rack when they were younger? Right?
Wow,
You know,
that many.
the one guy that never bought, never visited, was me. I never visited the spinner rack. I never went to the 7-Eleven to buy comics. It's because of my dad, who he was, worked for DC. He got you know, all the comps, you know, and those were those were the ones that I read. They were all over my house, in the bathroom, in the bedrooms. They were, you know, scattered everywhere. But you know, it was a different kind of. I was a different kind of fan growing up, you know.
That's got to be so unique.
It wasn't unique. It was what I knew.
Yeah.
You know, it's all I knew. So, you know, I didn't even realize how famous my dad was until I went to a convention with him. I was like, holy shit, you know, I was like 13 or 14. And I didn't like, you know, growing up, I liked Superman, I liked Sugar and Spike, and I know there's a guy, you know, bringing Sugar and Spike around. He asked me if I wanted to do a Sugar and Spike with Wolverine. I go, of course I do. Who wouldn't? My dad's style in the war comics as a kid was very sophisticated, you know, and it didn't excite me. I liked the stuff that was, you know, like what kids like, more colorful and you know, more interesting to my young eye than as an artistic guy. You know, it wasn't until later, you know, 15, 18 years old, that I really appreciated the work that he did. And it wasn't until I got into the business myself that I really appreciated the work that he did, and was, you know, and I'm still in awe of, you know, my dad's work and guys at that level. It's kind of a toss-up. I think my favorite is like Enemy Ace, because the amount of depth and in perspective and height that he can do with just a couple of lines is amazing. Second would be Tarzan, and I remember when he was drawing Tarzan, and he was blowing through that stuff, going really, really fast. But sometimes, you know, you have a longer deadline, you don't do your best work if, you know, if you spend, you know, spending more time doesn't necessarily mean it's better. It's just you're spending more time. So he didn't have the, you know, our industry is all, it's deadline driven. And, you know, I live by my deadlines. I have to, you know, I needed that. If I don't have a deadline, a drawing that could take me a day can all of a sudden take me a week. And usually, you know, your first thought is your best thought. And I think that was with my dad's work when he was doing Tarzan. He was, you know, was very spontaneous, you know. Oh, this is my buddy Lloyd. Lloyd actually went through the school. I had him as a student. You're Wolvie's like best friend.
Yeah, his buddy.
Wolvie fan.
Wolvie fan.
Wolvie fan who owns all those pieces over there.
Wolvie fan who owns the left wall.
These pieces are incredible.
The left wall. It's insane. It is insane.
Did you sell these to him yourself, or did he buy these at an auction?
No, I had the whole thing. He bought it like a year and a half ago. I had them. I'm one of the guys that, you know, these are like my children up here, you know, and I don't like to get rid of them, you know. So, you know, I hold on to a lot of my stuff.
Like Tyler said, you get a comic here, you get a comic there.
Yeah.
That like sweet spot, I think everybody will say, like that early teens, where you can get every issue. You were the Wolverine artist, right?
Yeah.
I remember kind of taking heat when I was a kid because I always used to say you were the best Kubert. You know, because like your brother drew and your father drew, but that wasn't my comics. You know what I mean?
Right.
I always like stood up for Adam.
Thank you.
And here I am, still saying.
I appreciate that. You get a gold star. Yes, Luke. Small girl in the front.
How long did it take you to draw these pictures?
That's a very good question. It really depends on the picture. Some take longer because they're more you know, if there's a lot of characters on it. Those little pieces up there of Rogue and Wolverine.
The small ones.
Yeah, those that drawing of Rogue up there, those lips on Rogue are the same. That's how big it was printed.
Coming from the city, it was a little bit more easier because you'd go to the newsstand, convenience stores, anywhere you went, there was comics.
Yeah.
And as a young and bit of a late reader, I was just mostly into the art and just staring at the art for days, you know, so
Yeah.
It was great, which kind of led me more into art myself. I never took it professionally, but I did go to art school. It just didn't last long in school.
Yeah.
But
what art school?
Art and design.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of alumni, you know, big heavyweights that went there.
Yeah.
And which also, I'm into graffiti as well, so it's also why I went to art and design, but I just picked the wrong major as I was into architect. I wish I stuck with illustration.
I mean, I love sketching wherever I go.
Yeah.
And some of the paintings that people put on the side of buildings now, you know, it's not so much graffiti, but it's like full blown, you know, amazing work.
Yeah.
I just like, I sketch people all the time, and I like sketching what other people have drawn. You know, so it's cool. Do you draw a lot in the city? Like,
a little bit here, not as much as I used to, but when I have the time, I do.
Yeah. Damian Scott, you know who he is, right?
Another name. Yeah.
Do you know who he is? He actually went through the Kubert school. I think he did some Spider-Man work.
Yeah.
He's got a very graffiti style that he's pulled into comics. The work has a lot of energy, and it's just beautiful work.
I write software, and I've been writing comics since 1974. So I may be the oldest person in this room, actually.
I don't think so.
No.
I'm looking at myself.
I'm kind of hooked early on, and I mean, I hate saying it to all these X-Men people in this room, but my thing is mainly the Avengers. But I do collect X-Men, and so that's how I found what you've done, and I really enjoyed it. So when I heard that you would be doing this, I kind of jumped at the chance to meet you. And
cool.
So I'm glad I did, and it's amazing the work you do at this size.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of uncommon. I typically buy, like Jason does too, it's typically the 11 by 17 board, and maybe some of the older pieces are 14 by 19 or what have you, but it's amazing seeing the detail at this size. It's mind-blowing. I'm really glad I came to see it.
Yeah. I like doing it this size. If you're interested, the way why I started doing it larger, a few years ago, and I do all my covers either 18 by 24 or 20 by 30. There was an event a few years back at Vincent Zerzulo's Metropolis Comics. And I went there, and I've known Vincent for a long time, and he says to me, Adam, do you have any large pieces? I go, no, everything I do is, 11 by 17. And he said, you can get more for the originals if you draw it larger. I go, a little light bulb went on, like, okay, I could do it larger, no problem. I did it for the money, okay? But I found that I really loved drawing it larger. And the printed version came out better because there's all this detail that you can get in a larger format, which is why I do it now. The money is nice and it's okay, but I like the reproduction. I like how my work looks. In fact, I did Wolverine Black, White, and Blood. I did all the pages that large, because I had the time. It was over the pandemic was when I did it, it was fun. Way back when. I mean, the 11 by 17 that we choose to work on now is out of convenience. Because it's easy to ship, it's easy to scan. All you guys know, it started out 13 by 19. The page is larger, or even larger than that. And it's fun for me to draw it larger. So.
Yeah, may I ask? So I know with your father, he was drawing on the bigger board, right back in the day.
Right.
How did he adjust, or what did he think of when they changed the format?
If you've ever seen any of his originals or any of those art books that IDW puts out,
yes.
You can see loads of white paint, mistakes. He'll cut a piece of paper out, put another piece of paper over, and that's kind of how I feel too. My job is for reproduction. Sorry guys, but I'm not doing my drawings for you, except the ones that I can get a lot of money. No, I'm not doing I'm really doing it for me, which is why I kind of keep most of my work. So he drew in a very raw style for reproduction. So when it came down and when it was reproduced and reduced, it tightened up and looked awesome. Mm-hmm. So that was a focus of his style. I do a rough on 11 by 17, and then I'll scan that into the computer, and it's like a loose pencils, more or less. And then I'll put that on. I'll scan it, print it out in like a light color, and then I tighten my pencils up on that, and I ink over that. So if I print it out 11 by 17, or if I print it up 20 by 30. It doesn't really matter. It does take longer to render and to draw it, but it's not that bad. I don't draw it like the 20 by 30 because it's hard to I sit at a table, in an inclined table. It's hard for me to keep track of the perspective if it's that big. So it's almost out of necessity that I print it large to keep all the proportion correct and things like that.
How does coming to a show like OAX differ from doing like your standard celebrity-based Comic-Con?
It's completely different. I mean, after 2 days of being here, it's all comics. Collectors and originals and the stuff that I really like. They're not here to see, why am I thinking Don Knotts? He's probably been dead for 20 years. I mean, you know what I mean? You're not, Ranger Rick or whatever, Yeah, Bob Hope, right. But that's the difference. That's the difference that I see. This is the first year for it, so there's a lot of growing pains. Bill and Casra, they're genuinely interested in the art form.
Bill keeps referring to this as a hobby. I'm like, dude, look around. This is not a hobby.
It is a hobby. It is a hobby. Drawing, thankfully I get paid for my hobby. Why don't you tell me about yourself?
Myself?
Yeah.
I just was called upon. I'm a friend of Bill's from back in the pandemic, when the world shut down.
Right.
Bill was breaking new ground.
Yeah.
Virtually,
yeah.
Bringing the CAF experience to people at home when everyone was stuck at home.
Right.
So we did a lot of virtual events together, and that relationship kind of grew. Mm-hmm. And then I heard that, wait a second, he's doing it physically. He's like, he's taken that leap.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we've all talked about, you know, this would make a really great show that people would pay tickets, you know, pay money to come to.
Yeah.
But Bill did it. He actually did it. And all these people showed up for it. And it's incredible.
Red eyes and all, Bill did it.
Yeah, Bill, man.
Because this is a lot of work. Growing up, I grew up on comics. I still don't consider myself a fan. Like I didn't really follow the artist. I liked Superman. You know, I liked that kind. I didn't even know that X-Men existed because my dad didn't bring home Marvel comics. I knew about Spider-Man and the Hulk because of TV.
Right.
You know, when I first drew the Hulk, or I'm sorry, Wolverine, I didn't really know a lot about the character. I was only at Marvel for like a year or two, and I actually from Harry Thurin. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
I bought this guy. He was a student at the school. His collection, Wolverine 1 through like 50, that I still have. I read it from beginning to end, and I also read Barry Smith's Weapon X. That was my introduction to the character. The first drawing I ever did of Wolverine was, the hologram. Wolverine 75 has a hologram on the front. All those, it was a event. That was the hologram drawing. Was my very first drawing I ever did of Wolverine. But I love to draw, and I figured out I love to tell stories with pictures. I originally went to school for medical illustration, which I'm not doing, but it sure helped me with drawing when a liver or a kidney gets flown into the air. You know, that's what a real liver or kidney looks like. You know, so it's interesting. You know, where you started and where you ended up, and you still have this passion for the art. I started lettering when I was 13 years old. It wasn't because I loved comics. It was because I needed to make money for my dirt bikes and stuff like that. You know, that's the way I did it. But after I got out of school, my first job was actually lettering Heavy Metal magazine. John Workman, who used to letter it, he was the art director of Heavy Metal. I was lettering before that. He was leaving the job. He recommended me to take over, not as art director, but to do the lettering, because everything was translated from another language into English. That was my first foray into like Mobius and Serpieri, and like it was coming across in front of me, and it was like, oh my God, this is, because like I said before, I only knew DC Comics. But National Lampoon allowed me to do. They didn't allow me. I just did it. Actually, I did it. Every job I got from them was a different style. One time I copied Serpieri's style. He did a book called Druna, which I really loved. I love the style.
Did you come back to the newest Wolverine with, I can't wait to get back to my old character, or did you come back with, what am I going to do different this time to make it unique or to make it?
I came back because I wanted to do it again. Mm-hmm. What could I do differently this time that I didn't lean on the last time? Mm-hmm. The thing that made it most different was Ben Percy, different writer, different types of stories. You get more graphic these days, which was kind of interesting. When I first did these, there was no red blood, no exit wounds. Right. If I didn't do an exit wound on every other page, they'd probably hire somebody who would. I prefer to do that kind of action off panel, because I think that your imagination fills in the blanks more than I can show you. Oh, I also wanted to show you what I'm working on, which I think you guys will find interesting, which I don't want to forget about.
No cameras for that, though, right?
Yeah, no cameras for that. Yeah. And no photographing with your eyes either. Okay. So let's start with. Okay, so each of you get. This is Marvel art of Adam Kubert. Of course, I'll sign this for you. So you each get one of these. This is. I better mark this off.
Yeah.
Or you call it up.
All right. Yeah, I'll do that, and you sign.
Okay.
All right. I was gonna sign them for you. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So Nightcrawler's done, right? This is Omega Red.
Omega Red.
Yeah.
No. Oh, I did Apocalypse.
Yeah, Apocalypse. Okay.
Apocalypse. There we go. Okay, he's not done. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. That's sweet. Love it.
Oh, that's coming out nice.
Yeah.
And this is also why it's not done. You know, I told you guys I would do headshots, the samples that I give you. I'd rather under-promise and over-perform, always. Jared. Oh, you got a good one, man.
Awesome.
Always. There we go.
Thank you.
Give him a book.
Yeah.
Give him Mr. Pool and get out of here.
Okay, Yasmin, my man. Queens.
Which one is it?
Sabertooth.
Oh, good one. Oh, this one's done too. Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's cool.
Ah, look at that. Just for
Right.
graduation, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And
Phoenix.
Great Phoenix.
Thank you. That's,
Okay.
that's great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome.
Nice.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, so if you want to come up and have Adam sign it.
Want me to personalize it?
Yeah, sure. I was with Tyler, Tyler.
Now it's over. Now we got time.
At the end.
There you go, buddy.
Awesome.
And I had no idea what the hey, there's a guy that we can go see his collection. Supposedly well, like awkward, and I was just like, I'll go see it. And then when I get there, I'm like, hey, it's like a neat collection. I was like, this is the premier collection of illustrators in the world. Did you see the more shots stuff we got? No, did I call you about? No, Brian, what are you doing? Here, this is about to close in 20 minutes. Come on. I'll be back. Yeah, let's. I didn't know. Hey, there. Always here. Stay healthy.
See you next. Hasta next time.
Not so much that I go to the one I guess hate favorite guy. Four of my pieces are over there.
Thank you.
Great way to end the
Have
convention.
a safe trip home. There we go. Final piece in the sketchbook for the Orlando Art Expo.
So what art pieces did we get? This is awesome. Hold
So
on
we
a
got
sec.
the
Let me
finch.
appreciate this a little bit. That is
I know all the little lines and everything, the little details.
His inking is just next level. And what else did we get?
Oh, next page. And the Sean.
Murphy on the Batman.
All right, so here we go. So this one we already had. That one doesn't count. So we got our Spider-Man page that Angela picked up with the Doc Ock. We got this beautiful Zatanna page, which might be my favorite one that we got.
Yeah, this was a great pickup.
Her in all the panels. Such a beautiful Dan Jorgens piece. Oh, and then this was really cool too. The Sean Murphy prelims with the Joker and Batman. And then we got a few different pieces here. This one was really nice with the Batman Who Laughs. All Joe Bennett pieces. We got some cool Spider-Man ones coming up. We got Captain America on that one. And then you got Dr. Doom, Spider-Man. This one has a nice panel of Spider-Man there. And then we weren't able to get the Adam Kubert artwork done this time around. No big deal. We'll definitely get it done one of these days, so that'll be really cool once that's done. And then this, I think, was our final pickup, right?
Yeah, this one is awesome. I really like the Two-Face and Nightwing.
Yeah, this one's really cool. The detail is awesome. So I think that was our final one, right? Yeah, and then we just have our posters that we got. So that's a wrap on the Orlando Art Expo. Definitely an amazing experience. Hopefully they're going to do it again next year because we would love to come back. And next week is MegaCon, you guys. So we have a very busy 2 weeks. Can't wait for MegaCon. But I hope you guys enjoyed the Orlando Art Expo video. Make sure you comment down below. Let us know what your favorite piece of art was, who your favorite artist was, or just what your favorite part of the video was. But we thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.